Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Restoring Hope for Haas. We are on episode 8, and we are going pretty fast through this series. I have been uploading quite a bit in the past couple weeks, but we are on to Austria now in race number 8. We're just over the halfway point, or this is the halfway point now, so just under the halfway point, shall I say. But we are going to see what we can upgrade before this race. We can't upgrade anything before this race, but we can upgrade stuff which will come in before Silverstone. So I think we did take a risk. We tried to rush one in for Silverstone. There we go. We got the aero improvement for this next weekend. But we are still the slowest car. We've actually dropped behind Williams again. But we are very close to Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin up ahead. So if we manage to drive well and do what we can do, there is a chance we could get into Q2 for the second time this season. It's certainly not out of the question. Our car is improving rapidly, and come the end of the season, if we make sure we have enough resource points to change with the regulations, we could come out as a midfield side next year, and we can really push on and maybe push towards the front of the grid sooner rather than later. But Austria, it is one of my favourite tracks. I am very good around this track, and if there's any track that I feel confident of getting points at, it is this one. So I'm coming into this weekend making sure that all my engines are good, and they are, because we have took multiple engine penalties already this season, just so later on in the season we don't have to when the other teams are taking grid penalties. But I do feel very, very confident around this track, and I feel like it'll be almost a disappointment if I don't get into Q2 in this car. I think Q2 is a big possibility with the pace I have around here, so we'll see what happens. I did a bit of practice, and we were a lot faster than our teammate as per usual, and we were up there. We were looking pretty strong. So as we come out onto our first lap, you can see going into turn 1, it's a little poor there. We braked a little bit early, and you can see we went over the yellow curb. We could brake a lot later into that turn 1 and gain a lot of time from that. But going into turn 3, it's beautiful through there. We get onto the gas nice and early, onto the throttle I should say, and it was actually an okay lap. I'd say it's a decent banker lap to start with in this Haas car. We crossed the line and it's in the 104s, so we are ahead of Russell, we are ahead of Raikkonen, and we are in the P15. So as of right now, we're gonna go into Q2. Obviously everybody's going to have another run, and it's likely people are going to improve, so we're also going to have to improve. But for a banker lap, that is a very good banker lap. 6 tenths ahead of our teammate, and less than a tenth ahead of the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi. But we're right there with Lance Stroll, only 3/100ths away. So coming into this last lap, we have more confidence to go to the turn 1. It's beautiful through there. Much later on the braking, and that's already a tenth back from which we lost in that first lap. So the confidence is definitely brewing on my side. Coming into turn 3, we're going to brake very late, and we're going to see what we can do. It's not as smooth as before. We struggle a bit trying to get on the throttle, and that's the whole tenth we gained in that first corner is lost. So now we know we have to push it a little bit. We have to push it to find that bit of time, find about a tenth, which should be enough to get us through as we come around this right hand, and we put a wheel onto the grass, and that's us spinning around. It's been a little bit since we've spun around, but we're back to our roots, and now coming back into the pits, we're going to have a look. And we have actually done enough to make it into Q2. Giovinazzi, he did improve, but only by 3/100ths, so he cannot beat our first time, which is great news for us because we're headed on to Q2. And yeah, our teammate all the way down there in P20, nothing really surprising then. It'll be good, hopefully someday, get a new teammate, one that will actually challenge me a bit, and bring the team home some points. But we're going to come out for our first lap in Q2. We're going to try and put a strong banker lap in, so then if what happened at the end of Q1 that happens at the end of Q2, because we'll be alright. And you can see in that bottom left, we get a purple sector 2. We go a little deep into turn 3, but purple sector 2, and everybody has already set a time. So we're actually flying right now in this Haas car. The straight line speed we have is pretty good, but obviously coming through this sector 2, here is where we're going to lose all the time because of our downforce and the chassis. It's not going to work through that sector. But as we come across the line, it's not a bad lap at all. And it's going to be a 104.6, so it's 3 tenths improvement on our first time in Q1. And it's ahead of both Aston Martin drivers. And I do feel like there is more time to be gained here. So coming into turn 1, it's pretty nice, but we try and get under throttle too early and we spin it. So that's just us trying to push it a little too much in qualifying to find as much time as possible, as we are 4 tenths away from the Alpine. So we really had to push it. But we did manage to get P13, which is our best result of the season, ahead of both Aston Martins, and we can say there is progress going on in this Haas garage. So we're going to head over to the race and see if we can get some points.
This is it then, race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. Not long to go before our drivers hurtle off the line and into the first turn, the Niki Lauda curve, as it was renamed in 2019 in memory of one of Formula One's most beloved figures. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Norris, Sainz, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Stevens and Vettel, Stroll, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So P13, I think that's actually a fabulous result in qualifying. I don't think I can do much more. I was 4 tenths off the Alpine ahead, so this feels like it's the best I can do. And we've upgraded this Haas car, so that now we're battling with the Williams, Alfa Romeo, and Aston Martin are kind of fallen back into our clutches, so we can have a go at them now. So qualifying P13 is going to give us a really good chance at points, especially around Austria. We're going to start on the mediums and we're going to run the alternate strategy. Everybody's going to be running a 2-stop, but it depends how long we can hold on to these mediums for. If we can hold them on for 20, maybe 25 laps, we can go on to the softs for the end of the race. And who knows, maybe a safety car will come in and change up the race. So we'll have to see what happens. But we need a good start to start with. And 5 lane nights, and away we go. And we do get a half decent start, better than Ocon. But Ocon just about stays ahead as we're going to try and go around the outside. No, we're going to tuck in behind Esteban Ocon, but there's a little bit of carnage and someone's spun. It's the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly who has spun, and we've gone all the way up into P10. A virtual safety car has come out in this first lap, but P10 from P13. I'm losing my voice over here. But what a start this is for us. So we're going to have a look at what happens to the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. He goes down the inside of the McLaren, and he's about alongside, but then the McLaren comes around and he just clips the front wheel, and that's him spinning around. Everybody on the inside has to slam on the brakes and hold up, and we just go around the outside and say thank you very much. We take 4 positions, or 3-4 positions in one corner. And now at the end of the VSC, we've got about a second gap behind us because they were a little slow. And we can actually have a look at having a go at Fernando Alonso in the LP. We're going to hold down the whole ERS. He's going to get stuck in traffic coming into turn 3. We're going to have to make a move down the inside of Fernando Alonso. We're careful with our wing in front of Daniel Ricciardo, and we get the move done. We are up into P9 in the Haas car, but are we? Is Alonso going to have a go back at us? He's going to fight us round the outside. We've got the inside line. We're going to see if we can hold it on side by side coming down into turn 4, but we hold off. Tsunoda follows us through, and P9 on the medium tyres. We're going to see what we can do. Can we hold on to these McLarens up ahead for a little bit longer? We know we have the straight line speed, so if we can stay within the DRS of the McLarens up ahead, use our ERS, we might be able to stay in their DRS for a couple laps and help us out in our strategy, because our straight line speed around here is giving us a chance. And you can see just a lap later, we haven't lost too much time. We've lost about 2 tenths in a lap, which isn't too much. But Yuki Tsunoda on those soft tyres is absolutely rapid, and he is all over the back of us, and he's actually going to have a look to have a go at us down into the final 2 corners. He's going to go down the inside. We're going to let him go. We don't want to lose too much time because we're thinking about the whole race and we're thinking about scoring points. So we're just going to let Tsunoda go past, and we're going to let him drag us along. We're going to try and stay within his DRS, and hopefully he can pull us just pull us away from the midfield, essentially, and maybe even closer to the McLarens. And you can see a few laps later, we're actually managing to do just that. The softs are starting to wear down now, and we are still within DRS range of the AlphaTauri. Lando Norris, I believe, does have a problem with his car. That is why he's a little bit slower. But we are showing that we have a lot of pace in this Haas car. It's the straight line speed which I think is saving us a little bit. But also, the setup, this Austria setup that I have on, just feels so good. The car feels so stable, and it's very fast, especially around the corners as well. So we are able to stay just within DRS of Tsunoda, and we do again for another lap. We're coming on to lap 9, and 9 laps in, to be in P10 on the medium tyres and still only 8 tenths behind the car in front is pretty incredible, you know, only 1.5 seconds behind the McLarens. So we're actually putting in the performance of a lifetime right here. And coming up into turn 3, sorry, you can see Tsunoda, he's having a little look, see if he can get a move done on the McLaren up ahead. But he's not quite. And there is a yellow flag on the track, and that is Pierre Gasly, who is off the track. He spun at the first corner on the first lap, and now he's got an engine problem. No safety car though. But it's not been the ideal race for Pierre Gasly. Spun on lap 1 and gets an engine failure on lap 9. It's a day to forget for him. But coming on to lap 15, you can see the softs are starting to wear down a lot now. They're very worn. Hamilton behind us, who's already pitted onto a new pair of softs. But you're going to see the two McLarens, they're going to go side by side against each other here. And we're just watching this happen. Usually we'll be watching this happen when we're lapped. But no, we are well and truly in the fight with the McLaren drivers. They're on the soft tyres, 15 laps old. So our mediums are going to be working a lot better than their softs right now, and we're watching, and we're going to see if we can have a move at Lando Norris. We're not just going to sit here, we're going to see if we can make an overtake happen on the McLaren driver, because if we can overtake a McLaren in this Haas car only 8 races in, that's going to be a huge statement of intent. And and it will also really help us in getting a chance at points in this race. And I think this is our best chance by far. As you can see, Daniel Ricciardo, he's trying to come into the pits, and that makes it a little bit awkward for us because that takes up the racing line. I do not like where the pit line is in this track. I think they do need to change it because it is very dangerous. But coming up into turn 1, you can see how close we are to the rear wing of Lando Norris. We're going to get better traction coming out of that turn, and then all the way down into turn 2, all the way up into turn 3. We've got DRS, and we've got ERS, and we're overtaking a McLaren driver in our Haas series. This is unbelievable. We're only 8 races in, and we're fighting against McLarens. I say fighting. We're overtaking McLarens, and we're going to say see you later, and we're going to go on with our race. 16 laps in, P4. Or P2, sorry, Hamilton in P4. We're in P2. Granted, many people have made a pit stop, so we're about net P8, P9 right now. But this is unbelievable. This is an unbelievable race from us so far. And we're going to move on a few laps. We did very good laps. This has been a very good stint. We're about 50% worn. And now we believe now's the time for the softs. We saw the McLarens were able to take the softs 15 to 16 laps. So we're going to pit at the end of this lap and take our softs for only 10, 11 laps. So they're going to be lightning quick. Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris are about 6 seconds behind us. 5-6 seconds. But they've already made their pit stop. They're going to be on worn down mediums. We're going to be on fresh softs. We might even be able to have a go at the McLarens at this point. After we come out our pit stop onto the soft tyres, we're going to be about a second quicker than them per lap. But you can see we've got our teammate behind us, and yes, that is our teammate. It's our teammate that we've lapped. So we've lapped our teammate here in Austria before our pit stop. He's obviously pitted. We have not. And he's all over the back of us. He's trying to make a move on us and unlap himself. Now, if this was real life, Gunther Steiner will be screaming team orders at him. Do not try and make an overtake. Do not try and make it difficult for him. But he's making it as difficult as he can. And we have to use all our ERS to stay ahead of him. And now we're going to come into the pits. We go a little bit wide. And oh my gosh, we make contact with our teammate as we come into the pits. We go a little bit wide of the pit line. He comes down the inside. And we try and turn back towards the pits. And we make contact with his wheel. I don't think anything hit on the wing, so I think we're fine in that department. But we did make contact on the wheels, and wow, didn't think I'd make contact with my teammate who I had lapped. But But we did, and as we come out the pit stop, we're going to see how much that has cost us, that poor pit entry. And there's a group of 4 cars right here, and we're going to come out at the very back of them. We can't even enter in front or in the middle. It felt like quite a slow pit stop as well. So we are going to come out just behind the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. But once again, we have soft tyres, brand new soft tyres, against used mediums and hard tyres on the cars up ahead. So in P13... the Williams is coming in for his pit stop, so now it's going to be P12, and we are right on the tail of Fernando Alonso after that, and we're actually going to see if we can have a go at him down in the turn 1. We're going to use all our ERS, we're going to use the DRS, we're going to go around the outside of Fernando Alonso, around the outside of the Spaniard, the 2-time world champion, and we're going to get them moved on at turn 1. You don't see a move there too often, but we've got it done, and we're not going to stop there. We're going to have a go at Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. We're fighting a Ferrari as well. So we've got ready outside. There's a yellow flag up ahead, and it's the McLaren of Lando Norris, who's had a little spin. So now Lando Norris is in our sights. He's only about 3 seconds up the road. So P7 is well and truly on the cards in this race. There is so much for us. There's points. We're already in the points. We're already in P9, and we're on fresh softs. The only way for us is up right now. There is no going back at this point. We are flying away from the midfield. Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari is struggling to keep up on those hard tyres. These fresh softs are just rapid right now. And a lap later, we've closed in on the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. We've got DRS. We can use the DRS, but we're actually going to back off, and we're going to wait for the main straight. And if we get past Lance Stroll, we might even be able to catch the McLaren and Lando Norris and beat a McLaren on raw pace and on true merit. And here we go, around the outside of the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. We get the move done well before the break is over. We go a little bit deep, and that's going to cost us on the exit. On these soft tyres, we get better traction away than the Aston Martin. So it looks like we've got the move done. He does have DRS, but he's not close enough. So we've got the move done, and we are up in the PA. Oh my God, but we've been spun. We've been spun by the Aston Martin. And all the hard work we've done, and we've been dropped back down to P12. No, it's P13 behind Esteban Ocon, who's on a similar strategy to us. And this is absolutely tragic. So if we come into the braking zone, you can see we did brake a little bit late, but we do get good traction away. So we're well clear of the Aston Martin. What is he going to try here? He's going to look for a move down the inside. He is way too far back. Coming up to the turn, he goes for a little look, and he clips our wheel, and he spins us. And that is 100% on the Aston Martin. Nothing we can really do. So we've been dropped down all the way to P13. You can see Ocon, he's got ahead of Tsunoda, and we've got 5 laps to try and make amends for that spin that we've just had, which was not our fault at all. We were actually pushing on, and we were potentially going to beat a McLaren this race. But now we have to see if we can crawl our way back into the points, and we're going to have a go around the outside of Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1, and it's going to be 2 cars around the outside. We've got around the outside of Esteban Ocon as well, and now coming down onto the main street, coming up to turn 3. We just made 2 places in 1 corner, and we're going to have a go at Fernando Alonso around the outside in this first car. Remember, we're only 8 races in, and we are fighting in the midfield. We've got around the outside of the Spaniard, the 2-time world champion, and now we're going to have a go at Lance Stroll. Last time down into this corner, he spun us, but this time we're going to break a lot later, coming around the corner, and we get the move done. Or have we? Yes, we have. We're up in a P9. We've got 2 points for Haas coming home, but there is still a Ferrari up ahead that we can catch. He is on old hard tyres. We do have the pace, and we will be able to have a go at Carlos Sainz, but we do have 4 laps to make this move happen. We can pick and choose where we're going to do it, but we can't leave it too late. The longer we wait, the less pace we're going to have on these soft tyres. They're going to start to fade away in a couple laps, so it is very important we get close enough and make this move as soon as possible. We've got about 20% ERS, so can we have a go at him down this long straight? We do get a good exit. 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 1 tenths. We're right behind the Ferrari, and we're passing the Ferrari along the side, and well before the braking zone we get through on the Spaniard. We lock up our brakes we lock up our wheels as we brake. But we get the move done, we get good traction coming away, and we're up in a P8, and we should be able to fly off into the sunset now. We should be able to get home and dry without being spun by another car. But we know what we're like. We can also spin ourselves, so we've got to be very careful. Coming up to the last lap, the Ferrari man, Carlos Sainz, is right on our tail. He's trying to have a go. Is he going to have a go at turn 1? No, he's not. He's going to wait for this main straight. We've got to make sure we get good traction, and we get very good traction out the corner, using up our ERS, trying to create a gap. And the AI on the final lap, they always use up all their ERS, and he's going to have DRS. He's got one more chance, really, to get past us. Is he going to have a go? But on those hard tyres, he just can't get the traction coming out the corner. We've created a bit of a gap before turn 4. Is it going to be enough? It looks like it should be, and we are still just ahead of the Spaniard. And we are going to hopefully bring this car home in P8. We've got less than half a lap to hold on in this absolutely crazy race. I can't believe we're going to come home in P8. Or are we? Is the Ferrari going to have another go at us? Coming up into these last 2 corners, I don't think he's close enough. We need to make sure we stay ahead, and we do stay ahead. So coming around these final 2 corners, just keep it on the track. Keep it on the track, and it's P8 for Haas in Austria, and it is going to be P8 for Haas. What a result. 4 points for the team in an absolutely crazy race, and what an ending that was. Unbelievable.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So there you have it, P8 in what was a crazy race, to be honest. And I think the best part about this is we managed to get P8 on merit as well. It wasn't like any safety cars came to help us like in Imola earlier on in this season, but we did it on pure pace. So we're showing that this Haas car can work for us, and with the right setup we can find that pace within the car. A little unfortunate not to be able to fight with Lando Norris to maybe get P7. Lance Stroll taking that away from us, which probably would have been a penalty in real life, but to show that we can make the overtakes and come back to P8 even after being spun, I think shows everything. And you can see Nikita Mazepin down there in P19, obviously letting the team down once again, still unable to get away from being last on track. But as we look over into the driver standards, you can see we're up in a P14. It's been very good so far for us. Mazepin obviously down in P20 with 0 points. If he can get maybe even a couple points this season, that could be huge, as we might be able to mount a challenge to Aston Martin, especially with the pace that we are finding in this Haas car now. And looking at the constructors' standards, we're only 11 points away from Aston Martin, so the battle is still there. We can maybe push for P7 in the constructors' title. It looks like we're clear of Alfa Romeo and Williams with 8 races to go, but you never know, anything can happen. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.